Before beginning any service on a car, we should perform a quick underhood safety inspection. We should look for any leaks, loose fan belts, radiator hoses, coolant level, and of course, let's check the motor oil level. We're going to clean the throttle body and the throttle plate. To do this service, we're going to need a can of approved throttle body cleaner, a brush to scrub the deposits with, a rag to wipe it out with, and a screwdriver to loosen the clamps to remove the boot. Okay, this tool is what we call a throttle pedal depressor, and it is used for a couple of different functions during this process. One is when we do the throttle body cleaning with the car's engine off, we need to hold the gas pedal to the floor. This part of the tool simply hooks around the steering wheel. This end of the tool presses against the gas pedal, and we simply ratchet it like a big caulking gun to put the throttle all the way to the floor. We'll start by removing this air intake boot off of the throttle body. I'll loosen the clamps at both ends. After I loosen the clamps, I'll gently remove the boot. Sometimes you have to persuade it a little bit with the screwdriver, and then take it out. And at this point you can see the whole throttle body and the throttle plate. Now what really gets dirty is the back side of the plate. Now we've pressed the throttle to the floor with the engine off, and we can see the throttle plate is held in a horizontal position, allowing us to get in there and clean the back of that throttle plate where all the deposits build up. The buildup on that throttle plate will give various drivability problems: tip-in hesitation, cold start stalling, stalling when you approach a traffic light, and it can even raise hydrocarbon emissions levels during an emissions test. Next, we're going to take our throttle body cleaner, and I'm just going to wet it down in there, but I'm not going to soak it. Just get it wet and allow it to soak for about 15 seconds or so. I'll put more cleaner on the brush, and then I'll get in there and scrub down that throttle plate to get it clean and get the deposits off, paying close attention to the outside edges where the throttle shaft exits the throttle body, and the edges of the throttle plate where the deposits build up and reduce airflow at idle. I'll also clean the outside circumference of the throttle body itself where the plate comes into contact. Now that we've loosened up the deposits with the brush and the spray, we're going to wipe it out with our shop rag. So now we've finished cleaning the whole throttle body and the throttle plate of all of the deposits that have formed in there, which should give much better drivability, reduce stalling, reduce emissions, and in general make the engine perform a lot better. Now we'll begin the fuel and induction system cleaning process. The first step is to use our Step 1 fuel system cleaner, which goes right into the gas tank. Now we'll go to Step 2 and put the oil system conditioner right into the crankcase. Simply pour it right into the oil fill. And the third step will be to put our Step 3 induction cleaner in. And the first step would be to make sure the valve is off in the horizontal position. Take the cap off of the applicator bottle. Take your induction cleaner and simply fill the bottle. The third step is to apply the induction cleaner. And there are three important steps we must use to apply this cleaner. The first step is selecting the right manifold vacuum source. What we want to do is to look for a strong manifold vacuum source that's centrally located so the product will be dispersed evenly to all of the cylinders, and we want it as close to the throttle plate as we can to help with that even distribution. If we look at this vehicle, there's a number of vacuum hose selections we could go with. The first one we see is this brake booster hose. And notice that the brake booster hose, if we were to apply the product through here, most of the product would go right into this number 4 cylinder only and not be distributed evenly to the rest of the cylinders. The other choice possibility we look at is the PCV hose over here. And as we can see, if we use this PCV hose, we'd have the same problem with all the product going into number 1 cylinder only and not having even distribution to all of the cylinders. If we come over here and look at this vacuum hose that comes off the fuel pressure regulator, we notice that it comes around and up and enters into the top of the throttle body, right smack in the middle, right behind the throttle plate. So if we choose this location, the product will go in, be picked up with the airflow, and distributed evenly to all of the cylinders for complete cleaning. This is an example of an abnormal vacuum hookup. This is a General Motors Vortec engine. And very often when looking for a vacuum source, it's difficult to find the correct one. And the solution to that would be to simply remove this cover off the top. In identifying the correct vacuum source to apply the induction system cleaner to, sometimes it's difficult to find that correct location. In this application, a General Motors Vortec engine, the vacuum source that is easily identifiable is the brake booster hose. However, this is a bad location to apply the induction system cleaner to. As we can see, this vacuum hose enters the back of the engine, so the induction cleaner would be feeding the back of the intake plenum and most likely isolated to only the back cylinders of the engine, therefore prohibiting a complete cleaning of the engine. The air enters this engine here through the throttle body, and as you can see, there's the canister purge solenoid right here. If we remove this canister purge solenoid, it'll give us an ideal vacuum source to put the applicator into. Fortunately, on this application, the adapter fit right into the hole that we had uncovered. However, sometimes you'll run into a vehicle where that will not fit into the hole properly the way this did, and you can make a simple homemade adapter out of a piece of cardboard right in the shop. Simply cut a circle of cardboard, cut an X in the middle of it. We simply insert the applicator end into the cardboard, which forms a gasket to go into the oversized hole inside the intake. So as you can see, by using this canister purge solenoid vacuum port as the source to put the induction delivery device, we have a strong manifold vacuum source that's centrally located as close to the throttle plate as possible, allowing even distribution through the whole intake manifold for complete cleaning of the intake and all of the cylinders. Next, we will start the car and set the RPMs to read between 1200 and 1500. We'll use the throttle pedal depressor that we used before during the throttle cleaning to adjust the RPM to the desired result. Now that we have the induction delivery device hooked up to our manifold vacuum source, we want to verify it's a good strong source by feeling the vacuum on the T right here, which we have a good pull on this. The next thing we want to do is to set the flow so that we have a steady drip that's almost a stream in this sight glass. Not a stream, but a steady drip. Dump, 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 rapidly like that. And you'll notice after it passes this vacuum T, it becomes aerated because of the air being drawn in here. Never block off this air T. It's a very important device. Now that the product has all been used, we'll shut off the valve, disconnect our hose, reconnect our vacuum hose securely, remove our applicator bottle. We're going to run the engine at 2,000 RPMs to purge out any residual cleaner, reassemble the engine to the way we found it with all hoses and clamps securely replaced, and then do a final quality control road test for several miles. Fuel and induction system cleaning is recommended to be done at 15 to 18,000 mile intervals or once a year, whichever comes first. The fuel system cleaning will restore the fuel system, fuel injectors, carburetor to their original equipment specifications to deliver fuel to the engine to the correct calibration. The induction cleaner will clean out the carbon deposits that are formed inside the top of the engine to restore volumetric